What up, everybody? How you doing? It's your boy Jedi Granville here on Jedi Granville Productions, and I'm just happy as a clam right now, or however the saying goes. I don't really know, but your eyes are not deceiving you too. I'm a little well shaven, which needed to be because it's about to get a little warm around here, and if you live in the South, oh yeah, you're definitely going to get some sweaty, palmy days, but with all that being said, this is a pretty much what the thumbnail is saying. This is a special delivery day. This is part of the special delivery day sequence. As I like to say, sequence pod or whatever you want to say. But anyway, yes, what I got right now are two items that I got in yesterday, and I say, well, I'm gonna share them with you for your viewing pleasure. So, with that being said, let's start with the first one. And like I say, we're opening it. Like, open it. Ah, yes. This is incredible to see. This, believe it or not, is the film Massacre at Central High. I got it on Blu-ray, thankfully. I didn't want it on DVD, although if you wanted to get it on DVD, that's your choice. But this film is pretty much it's funny about this film. It's a it's a not so much a slasher, you know, but it's set. I'll put it like this: it's set in a high school. It's set in high school. And one of the things about high school is, it's all kinds of things, that go on, whatever, But this film, it's particularly well good, I mean, it's 70s cheese in a way. It's one of those grindhouse type films, should I say. And by that I mean it's mostly sexually, violently, the way it's supposed to be meant to be. But I wanted to get this film because I recently watched it and I knew about this film way back in the day, but I never got to watch it until recently. And one of the things I realized is this film is way more, this film is way more, I could say it's way more, entrenched in what it's saying than what most people might think it is. I mean, yeah, you will see. Honestly, you will see some people getting killed. Let's put it like that. You will see people getting killed. You will see some people, doing, whatever. And what surprised me the most out of this film is there's actually nudity in here. I mean, you automatically think like, okay, it's set in high school, so naturally, nudity might come into play. If you think of like Porky's or Fast Times at Ridgemont High, there's going to be nudity and sex and all that stuff. But the thing is, I wasn't thinking about nudity or that. I knew violence was going to come into play, but it's randomly something that you put in there. You feel like, okay, this is what's going to be brought into it, But like I say, the film is pretty decent because it's really, if you watch this film from beginning to end, it's actually an allegory of the world we live in right now. In terms of, okay, do you want to be free, or you do want to be, do you want to be ruled over, kind of like the Israelites of old when they were being held in slavery back in Egyptian times. I hope it's the Israelites, or is it the Jews? Oh my goodness, people are gonna rant on me with that one. But the bottom line is, it's the fact that once they were released from bondage, then their true colors of who they are come to play. And it's funny how this is wrapped up in a high school film slash slasher film, and it's crazy how that comes into play. And I'm just like, wow, that's just nuts. But hey, all in all, it's a pretty decent film. And if you are one of those few people, want to check out some good old 70s slasher, and I can't even say this is a slasher, this is people getting off pretty well in clever ways. And it's like I said, you would have to watch it. That's all I'll say. And that's a lot for high school, But I mean, then again, high school is a stepping stone to the real world of adulthood and shows where exactly it's heading and shows how insane it's going to be with some people. But on to the next one, the next box opening. And hold up. Let me see, how do you open this thing? Wow. How do you open this thing? Pretty sure that's not what she said. No, I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Yeah. Made the fun. Wow, this is wow, okay. Maybe it's okay. No, that's wow. Give me a second, people. This is no, that's not it either. Okay, there we go. There we go. We're getting it. We're getting it. We're getting it. We're getting it. See, this takes time, takes effort, takes the manifestations of saying the will to do something, and I have the will to do what I'm doing. So, and here it is. Wow, they got it. Well, they got it wrapped up in a way where it's like, huh, that's that's pretty cool, All right, well, move the box out the way and show what I have here, which is the Falcon. How am I saying it? The faculty. Yes. My words are really not doing really well. I don't know what's going on with me. I can't speak. But the faculty. It's a 1998 Robert Rodriguez directed picture, sci-fi picture, and it was probably the first picture that he directed that was, not done by him in terms of. It's one of the few pictures that he's done that was directed by him that was not created by him. The screenplay that was done by Kevin Williamson, who created the Scream, franchise. He wrote the first one, and I think he wrote the second one, and I think coincidentally wrote the third one. But anyway, he wrote this little bit of sci-fi cheese, 90s cheese to be exact. And it's set in a high school, believe it or not. That's just what's interesting. What's interesting about these two films that I have? They're both set in a high school. And like so many high schools, it was set, it's taking place where it's kind of like what the first film I showed, Massacre at Central High. You see everyday life of, students and everything. And we also see how the authority figures, they can be righteous assholes, because I know for fact growing up, yeah, you go to schools, the authority figures are supposed to be the authority figures, but they make it seem like they're, without, wrong in the sense, But comes along a alien type of creature, a shapeshifter, if you want to say. And I have to say, the film is a lot better than most people give it credit for. It's pretty much, it's coming up 30 years since his first release. It was released actually around Christmas time of '98. So it was a pretty good film for what it is. But getting to what I'm talking about, the film is such a great example of what happens when you lose your identity. And it's kind of a, what can I say, invasion of the body snatchers slash, Independence Day, anything, because it's an invasion, but it's what you call a Cold War invasion. In other words, they invade, but they don't, because this creature is taking over. But the thing about it is, crazy to sound, it's kind of a Thanos mythology that we're just making the world a better place, not making it more. I mean, I'm not taking over just to be taken over. That's the thing. And like I say, the film, like I say, and I'm getting back to Robert Rodriguez. This film is pretty much a great example of you know blending of different techniques, this and that. And the thing about Robert Rodriguez, I think this is his first foray into sci-fi. This is way before he did Alita Battle Angel. And just to be on the safe side, I'm just going to say this. People are going to get me hateful when I say it, but I feel the faculty is better than Battle Angel. Sorry, not sorry. Okay. Anyway, the bottom line is the film is a pretty cool film, and Robert Rodriguez directed this, and he brought his A game with the budget that he had. It was a bigger budget than most of his films before that, or put together, and he really ranked up to what it was, because it's a pretty decent film, and it stars, like I say, Elijah Wood. It stars, Jonathan was Elijah Wood before he did the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It stars Joanna Brewster, who would be in the Fast and Furious franchise, and also it stars Josh Hartnett, who is pretty well known in films like Halloween H2O and a couple of other films like Pearl Harbor, Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor, and some subsequent other films that are out there these days. But like I say, it's got a pretty decent cast and everything. But like I say, if you want to check it out, you check it out. And this one just happens to be in 4K, which I love. I love that it's in 4K. I love that. You know. But like I say, these two films here, they pretty much are what they are, and I gotta say, it's a real joy to see. Let me see if I can put both of them up here. Well, just do it like that. All right. Well, hey, that's good enough. Now, the bottom line is these films are pretty much, and they're both set in high school. That's what's interesting. But I didn't even think about it because when I was ordering the one, I saw that one and I say, I'm gonna go ahead and get that one. And to find out that it's set in high school, it's like, huh, that's pretty interesting, And the thing about it is, it both are, you know, within their realms of what they are, And that's one is horror, while the other one is sci-fi. But they both have a balance of what they're trying to say. It's like one is trying to take over the world, while the other one is trying to say balance out, saying the thought process of why is this being done when you can not be a slave or minister. When I say minister, I mean instigator of certain things. It's just, this is crazy. One's a 70s gem, and the other one's a 90s gem. But still great in setting the tone, setting a high school situation. But that's pretty much it for the unboxing and everything. And now that I'm doing these intros with the way I'm doing, I can tell you now, because I'm on the laptop here, I'm explaining things. I will soon be doing a live broadcast in the next 2 weeks. The first starting with The Hitcher, a 1986 film starring Rutger Hauer, rest in peace, and C. Thomas Howell. Now that's a slasher horror film. That's a really good horror film in my mind. And a week after that, or yes, or the day after that, hopefully, I'm supposed to do a podcast with Kevin Lambert and Daniel Miller on the discussion of two 80s nuclear Holocaust films or disaster films. Well, you might as well say it. The Holocaust, disaster, whatever you want to say. Um, the day after, which was a American production, and which was released in '83, and Threads, which is a UK production, which was released in '84, a year after. And we'll be doing a discussion on that because I wanted to kind of get the discussion on how these two films, even though they're different, but they're unique in their own way. I want to talk about that. And on the 26th, if I'm not mistaken, just to be sure, the 26th is, yes, the 26th. I'm just making sure. The 26th, I will be doing my first for Tokusatsu Corner, the 70th anniversary, 70 anniversary of Godzilla Raids Again. And I got to tell you, I mean, it's funny knowing that this film is going to be 70 years old come the end of this month. It's crazy, man. This time is just not waiting for nobody. And both of those, like I say, both the Hitcher and Godzilla Raids Again will be both live streamed on different dates. But that's like I say, I've been on this platform for 10 years, and this is going to be my first time doing these things, and I'm so thrilled, so thrilled. But with that being said, I'm gonna go and end this out and say, hey, people, you have, as I always close out every time and anytime, y'all take care. Y'all please be patient. And usually when I say when I do thing kaiju related, I do my the kaiju alive. But for this, I always say keep the film legacy alive. Till then,